What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of everybody's favorite Red Mage, number 21. I'm Nothing Way, aka Spencer, and this is a 5-minute breakdown of a red Magic the Gathering card, their properties, missed opportunities, and honestly, what I think. You can find me on twitch.com/knowingway for a $0 free experience on MTG Arena. I'll show you how to do it. Today is a card from Crimson Vow. Okay. Voldaren Epicure. One red mana for a 1/1 creature vampire. Common. When Voldaren Epicure enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Period. Create a blood token. Cool card. I am sweetening up to this card. I'm actually liking it more and more. I played it a little bit this week. It was a very okay card. And what I mean by okay is that, number one, the card comes into play and does something. I really like cards that do that. Okay. Now, sure, it doesn't like change the game state, but it does do something. Okay. For 1 red mana, it comes into play and has a come into play effect. Usually cards don't do that anymore. Right? Or usually cards that do that are not a common. Right? And this one does a damage, right? It does direct damage to your opponent that they just can't stop, which to me is always good because you could top deck this and be like, cool, I'm going to do 1 damage. And this creature also gives you a blood token. Now, you have other creatures out there that come into play do nothing. When I look at 1 mana creatures, I always look at the concept of like the 1/1 red mana creature, right? And the long-standing 1/1 red mana was Raging Goblin, 1 red for 1/1 haste. So it attacks immediately when it comes out. This right here, Voldaren Epicure, is sort of like that. Like, it comes into play, has haste, right? It attacks, or it does 1 point of damage. So it does that little Timmy effect, that 1 point of damage that a Raging Goblin would do. Now, at least Raging Goblin has to attack once. This guy doesn't have to attack at all. It comes into play and does the thing. That's cool. And it also gives you blood tokens. So you're going to have like a blocker that did a point of damage and value time if it does do more points of damage, right? Like, the point is to do more damage. Yeah? So when it comes into play and does damage, it already did its task. Now everything else is kind of bonus. It's hard for me to think of a downside apart from having less creature types, sure. Or if you could redirect the damage, sure. But I don't want to give it too much, right? I think this was pretty good on Wizards' part here. They did an okay job with a couple of its abilities. Seems like a lot, right? For like a 1/1. I'm not mad at it. I think it did a pretty good job. I think the blood token coming into play. So this card has 2 coming into play abilities. I didn't even think about that, right? It comes into play, and since there's a period after the word opponent, right? It says opponent period, create a blood token. That means the blood token's always happening, right? So if you have any effects that deal with artifacts, immediately you get a 2-for-1 with this card. In fact, it's a 4-for-1, right? You get a 1/1, it does 1 damage, it creates a blood token, right? And then now you have a blocker, right? Or a potential attacker. I think this is a really good job here. There's a lot going on for this card. This can actually work fairly well in an artifact deck, as you know, in the future. If I wanted to play some super silly affinity deck with that's more red based, right? I could play Voldaren Epicure, and people be like, "Why are you playing that guy?" Well, it comes into play, does a point of damage, right? And now I get a free artifact. That's super cool, right? Or you could play this in a mono red deck that does damage. What is that ability where it deals damage and it makes things cheaper? Your discard or whatever. Yeah, it just the 1 point. It feels good. This card, I give it a very good B+, right? It's very good in the format. It's a little warped. It's very slow, but I think it's good for what it looks like, for what it does, especially at the budget price. If you're playing any red decks that are super cheap, this guy fits the mold. I recommend it. 9 out of 10. Okay? Give this rank B+. All right? Tell me what you think. Do you agree with me? All right? Thank you for your time. If am I missing anything, let me know in the comments on YouTube, Instagram, or in the podcast. You can also tell me on twitch.com/knowingway if you have any thoughts or any ideas. All right? Last, what card should I review next? You tell me, okay? Thanks. Peace.